Welcome to The Grant, the EU funding podcast. Innovation clusters are very important entities in the European innovation system. They assist and support local, regional and national organizations on their path towards developing innovative ways within their field. Many of them also facilitate access to EU R&D funding. Therefore, I have invited the Grant Advisory Board member Katarzyna Kowalska into the virtual podcast studio for a talk about how these innovation clusters work, but also to have a talk about how these things work in a Polish context as a relatively new EU member state. Please enjoy. The Grant. Welcome to the Grant, the EU funding podcast. Today's episode is part of the advisory board concept that I have, and I will introduce my guest in a second. As you hopefully already know, dear listeners, this is an initiative to dig deeper into EU funding within research and development innovation. There is no podcast on this, and therefore I am trying to build up a universe here, a community, and a place where I dig into different aspects of EU proposals preparation and EU project implementation. Now, this is in the early days. I have recorded some 10 episodes of my timeline series where I cover the every single part of the step from the first basic idea to submitting a proposal. But parallel to this, I'm also starting to record episodes with my friends of the house, so to say. Them I call the advisory board to stay in the lingo of EU research and development funding. And I have a handful now today. I have a newly joined member of the advisory board, that's Katarzyna Kowalska. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much for the invitation.
You are welcome. And I'm delighted to have you on board today. We will have a talk about innovation clusters. You represent one. And we will have a talk about Eastern Europe, Poland, SMEs, EU funding. We will circle around these things. They are important elements in relation to the facilitating sector, so to say, of this whole EU funding area. There's a lot of organizations that help and support SMEs, researchers and so on to access funding. And you're part of that ecosystem. But maybe let's just start from the top. Can you present yourself shortly to the listeners?
Sure. So my name is Katarzyna Kowalska. I am president of UNIMOS Foundation, which is a cross-cluster and cross-sectoral network that foster innovations and internationalization. I'm also a cluster manager of agro-bio cluster, which is an agri-food and bioeconomy cluster that gathers 52 members located in the central part of Poland and is mostly working with fruit and vegetables producers. And apart from this, I am also teaching assistants at the Warsaw School of Economics in Warsaw, where I teach students international marketing, entrepreneurship, and also conduct research projects related to clustering, innovation ecosystems, and internationalization.
Which is excellent, because this means you can also, as part of my advisory board, cover the Grand Campus that I have labeled my university and private research concept that I will have to fill some episodes into.
Perfect.
Yes, and thanks. And can you just shortly, not in too much detail, but shortly give us a taste of where your main experience lie within EU funded projects in relation to writing them or facilitating? Can you share that?
Sure. My journey with EU project started in 2004 when I was working with the learning about project writing, but from the European Commission point of view, designing programs for competitiveness and cluster promotion. Then I tried to use this experience in designing concrete projects to be implemented by regional agencies, universities, private companies here in Poland. And right now, and also I worked as a project director, as animator for business and science cooperation, project advisors, and several projects that were funded by Interreg scheme, COSME, FP7, right now in Horizon 2020 and Horizon Europe. So it's been almost 18 years of working with EU projects from different perspectives, from different countries, and what I most enjoy is the proposal writing and consortium building.
Yeah, so that's and that's pretty broad, but we will get back to that, if not too much here, because we'll talk about the cluster here and Poland and how you work with SMEs. But we will get back maybe in other episodes on your experience with these things. I thought about having an episode actually about your latest submissions, and talk a little bit in detail about how these went and just share with people concrete proposal processes. But I will put a note on paper for that to maybe discuss that in an upcoming episode. For now, Kasia, we need to, or I would like to, dig into the cluster. So, can you explain us about UNIMOS Alliance? And there's also the agro-business cluster, yeah? Can you tell us a little bit about these initiatives, the origin of them, and so on? Because it's a quite interesting story.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so my experience with clusters started in Uruguay in 2004 while I was working in the European Union delegation to Montevideo as an internship. In the internships as an intern in the Europe in the cooperation section. So at this time there was a proposal and project related to boosting clusters in 5 key sectors in Uruguay. After it was just after a huge economic crisis in Latin America. So cluster concept was very new and a novel approach to overcome those problems, challenges, and also to dynamize Uruguayan economy. So the concept that was used there were Spanish experiences from Basque Country and from Catalonia that were transferred by my boss, who was in charge of economic development at the EU delegation. And within this project, we have worked with boosting 5 different clusters at the same time in Uruguay, and also promoting export activities of small and medium enterprises. So as a tool, clustering was about creating a new way of collaboration between public, private, and academic organizations in one concrete sector, but in cooperation with other branches, identifying common challenges, designing the common way of overcoming those challenges as a joint strategy, and then also implementing common activities. So at this time was quite pioneering in Uruguay as a way of working, but ended up being a very successful tool. And I tried then when I came to Poland, used those experiences also to boost economic development in specific regions in Poland. So transferring Uruguayan experiences to Polish reality, and we have tried it in one of the regions of Mazovia region, which is the central part of Poland, which also suffered a lot of problems after the change of systems from socialist to capitalism in 1989. So this particular region was in quite was struggling a lot of systemic problems. So we designed a project as a specific EU project with the experiences of clustering and boosting cooperation led by public administrations. So as a final result of this project, agro-bio cluster was created as a pilot implementation, and at this time it was in 2014. There were no cluster manager, no cluster management organization, or cluster of financing for continuing those activities. So we decided together with my colleagues to create a new entity that would take care and be responsible of agro-bio cluster development.
Mm-hmm.
This is how UNIMOS was created formally.
Now, this is a nice story. It's also good for the dear listeners to learn about how it's actually possible to lift these kind of things if you have the drive for it. But maybe before we dig into how you work, we just share with the listeners what an innovation cluster is, if anyone would wonder about that. We not all listeners might be so experienced with these things as us. So innovation clusters, innovation clusters are basically local organizations, local regional organizations, sometimes national, but the main objective of these organizations are typically to support their members, which are often SMEs, but can also be other kinds, like public organizations or research or university and so on. Main issue is that they support and facilitate in removing some of the stones on the way towards being more innovative as an organization. And that can be accessing funding, but it can also be bilateral collaboration and facilitating network between companies or companies and research and so on. Or maybe rules, advice on rules and regulations, and so, yeah. So this is the area we're talking about here. You have innovation clusters throughout all over Europe, and they're normally sector based. Not always, but most of the time they would be sector based. That said, Kash, how do you work as a cluster in general? What's your key objectives, and what tools do you use to support your members? And what's your member base? So 2 questions: member base, and how do you work? What do you offer them, so to say? Yeah.
Okay, so we have, as UNIMOS Foundation, we are formally coordinating activities of agro-bio cluster. To do so, we work on with regional projects that we apply for financing for our regional government in Mazovia. And our main activity consists in gathering current needs of our members, knowing very well what they are needing for instance, for the next 6 or 12 months. So we try to answer those needs with concrete actions. So, for instance, at the beginning, we were very focused on marketing, on branding, on creating new packaging new packaging forms, and trying to dress better the products that our members have, to try to add more value and to sell it for a higher price, because they were the challenge was that the quality was very good, but they were not very satisfied with the price that they were obtaining from the product. So So we work on this. Then they were also needing more promotion, also more regional promotion. So for instance, we were organizing different fairs, different forums, and different exhibitions to promote them, and also to provide them networking opportunities, and to create links with, for instance, with new sales channels, and trying to support them on this activities. Then with we also provide them services related to financing, to get information about potential funding for the activities in terms of innovations, in terms of international expansion, or for instance to be part of international consortia. Last year, we also established a lot of cooperation links with clusters from other sectors, for instance, waste sector, chemical sector, photonics. So just to try to merge different, areas, thematic areas. To boost cross-industry collaboration, and at the same time we are also developing new tools and new services that can support to do it in a very agile way. So as a very example, we have co-designed a new service which is research to business hackathon, where we basically gather scientists and academics from technological and non-technological universities with private companies that, for instance, are interested in digitalization or circular economy or other common topics. So we facilitate their contacts, they work together, and also provide them information on how can they finance the proposal they are designing within EU funding. Just as example. So, but we have more activities ongoing in this.
Sure, but it gives a pretty good picture of sort of you facilitate, you use different tools to help connect and open up the window to new partners or new commercial partners and new collaboration partners and where to get the funding and so on. So specifically, if we zoom in on the EU funding part, what's your key role there?
I would say that it's more like interconnector and facilitator or orchestrator, just to try to support them in finding finding the calls, then to find the partners, and then to find the concept and the project idea they can work at international level. So it's as the name of UNIMOS, it's to unite basically different points of view, different funding schemes, and different actors with a common goal and shared values.
And how is it going?
At regional level, it is going quite well because what I would also like to highlight that we have like very two axes of activities. So one is very regional, so where we are very close to our members, and within those regional activities, we are acting as a facilitator and also like a door opener to new opportunities. So, for instance, we are searching for opportunities for EU funding where UNIMOS can enter as project partner, but all the activities that we will have in the project will be for our members and partners. So this way we somehow avoid all the bureaucratic procedures and all the learning that is needed to get the grant. And we are just having this role on our side, and our members and partners only gets the access and the possibility to participate in the concrete activities that are also aligned with their objectives. So in this way we are growing. Right now we have 5 EU projects. We have 4 EU projects ongoing. One we have already closed. closed, and we are about to sign 2 new projects that will start in September. So taking into account that we are an organization that was created 7 years ago, I think it's a quite a good number of projects. So we are very proud also of it. But still there are a lot of challenges for companies and for other organizations in terms of participating by themselves as project partners in the EU funding. So this is also a path that need to be explored, and also to support them to get to this EU community of and like a new field of growing as this EU funding is.
We will get to that in a few minutes. First, how many people are you?
Actually, we are 2. We have 2, and we are.
That's why you're so busy.
Yeah. We are 2, and we have but we have support with one more project manager. But like in the EU project, basically international organization are this is like my responsibility. So I'm working. I'm responsible for this part of EU development. Then in the implementation is my colleague, and also other colleague that we are working with. But we also have a very a very strong network of trusted partners that we have been working with since more than 10 years. So by having this closed network, we are also capable of implementing various projects with various from different thematics, and we also combine strengths and skills and competences of our networks.
Yeah, and to just enlighten the listeners why this is important, you cannot double charge your hours when you are an EU project. So if we look at dear Kasia, my guest here, she would not be able to charge both hours on both projects at the same time, so to say. So that sometimes if you're a small organization and you get into too many proposals, then you suddenly have an issue with actually using the hours that you have asked for, and that's a very common problem even in larger organizations when you engage, because it's if you don't use them, you don't get the funding. And if you have budgeted with the funding long term, then I've been in several places where there's been book your damn hours because we need it in the in the budget. Yeah, so that's that was a little detour. Thanks. We will before we go into and talk about your European network, because I want people to get an idea of how these things work. But what I wanted to just shortly touch upon or ask you, how are you funded as an organization? How does that work?
Mainly, we have funded UNIMOS activities by projects. So it's via regional funding and via European funding. So this is the main part of our financing. We are also offering services, fee-based services. And right now we are undergoing internal transformation in terms of also of model of membership and designing new services for our members, taking into account post-pandemic reality. So we have a new project that we would like to use also for designing new products and design a new business model.
What did I want to ask? It slipped my mind. If it's important, it's going to come back. It's because you have in some countries it's quite regulated. Being a Danish national as I am, I know the Danish system quite well, and there it's actually quite centralized. There's just been a reform of the whole cluster and business support system, where they have forced the clusters to merge into a limited amount. So there's only a limited amount of clusters that are allowed to be. You cannot just form a cluster in Denmark anymore like this. They used to be able to, but you cannot do that anymore. But I guess it's quite different in Poland, decentralized, or you.
Actually, in Poland, there have been cluster policy and cluster development has also experienced different stages of of development because at the beginning it was very motivated by availability of EU funds. So in 2013, 2007, 2013 perspectives, there were concrete EU funds for clusters. So a lot of clusters were created, even if they were not created taking into account the concept, the Porter's concept of clusters. So they were based on availabiliability of the fundings. Then when the funds ended, also cluster activities ended, and there were no cluster policy or no support for clusters, taking into account that the new EU perspective didn't put money for clusters. So those clusters that were really clusters, they survived. Some of them are also part of national clusters. There's like a special scheme for national key clusters that we could apply for, but we haven't, just because of our members, because they were not very interested in applying only for the funding opportunities that were within this concrete scheme. So, but right now, I think that clusters are more emerging into into innovation ecosystems, as it is also a new fancy word, and it's but we don't have there is no it is possible to set up and launch a cluster. There are no limits in terms of regulation, legal regulations or political regulations.
No, I think it's we also listeners should know that we already tried to make this recording some days ago, but because Kasia's battery ran out. But what we talked about and touched in that was just the historical context in Eastern Europe, of course, post-communist communist countries, where many of the countries they sort of ran very fast away from a centralized governmental model. so there's a lot of quite liberal approach in the economy at different levels, exactly because of this, where you have there's not a lot of money in the system to support, because that's just how it is in that part of Europe, but at least you have the freedom to build it up if you can yourself.
So. Indeed.
Kasia, you have a big European network.
I have big. Can you repeat?
You have a big European network.
Yes, we have last year we have joined Plant Intercluster Network, which is a cluster of 12 agri-food clusters from different EU countries that gathering agro-food clusters from France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Netherlands, but also from Romania, from Lithuania, from Denmark as well. Simon, indeed. So we are very proud and very happy to be part of this community because apart from all the growth possibilities that we are creating, we are exploring together. We are also project partners in some EU projects. So this is an absolutely fantastic way of learning, of creating new links, having inspiration for new projects, and also this is a great team of people. So we truly.
I always try to make it a little bit educational, huh? So because it's supposed because it's so. Before I go into the question I actually want to ask now, I'm very bad with starting sentences and then say something else. And it's very difficult when I edit podcasts. Then I start a sentence and then I finish it, say something else. No. Educational. What I try to do is because listeners, they come from all kinds of different backgrounds, and so we cannot expect that everybody knows. But I will make very nerdy and geeky episodes also on cluster world and specific cluster areas like the agro and so on. That's gonna come. But now I put on the wide and taking people in the hand that not necessarily know anything about this. How did you start? So when you started the cluster, when you built that up, you came back from Uruguay. Yeah, you came back, and then you started, and then you had already learned, I guess, to you knew your way around starting, even you were sitting on the other side of the earth to build a network and so on. But tell me, so you started, you built up from scratch the cluster, and then your networking part. How did you approach that?
So I basically used the experiences that I have already learned in Uruguay, the same approaches, the same concepts, because in Uruguay it was about running 5 clusters at the same time. So I was working in the management team of the whole project with the project director. So I was part of hiring cluster facilitators, of hiring coordinator of cluster facilitators. I also participated in the capacity building program for cluster facilitators with them. So it was very on the ground and hands-on experience of working on the ground with cluster building. So I have passed all the stages, for instance, we use participatory diagnosis approach with Porter Diamond, with participation of different stakeholders from public, from private, from academic organizations in the design of the cluster strategy, and then in the implementation of this strategy. So it was like the whole experience that I already had. But in terms of agro-bio cluster, it was I already had those skills and competences and know how to do it. I also immersed myself in totally new reality, because I was working with people that from one region that I didn't know. That it was about building from the scratch relations with farmers, with group of farmers, with local chambers of commerce, with public administration, with other stakeholders. So it was about trying to understand their needs, to gather them, to inspire how to solve the challenges that they already already identified. And we also had a Spanish partner in this project who was providing us successful experiences from Spain. So for instance, we organized participative workshops with public administrations when they said, okay, so we have here a lot of agro-food potential, but there are a lot of problems. So how Spain, maybe you have some solutions for this. So our Spanish partners were gathering their experiences, and we were transferring those cases to Poland, and basing on this, also our agro-bio cluster further members, also they said, okay, so we would like to implement this and this in a pilot project. And so agro-bio cluster was a very bottom-up initiative, very a lot of meetings, a lot of we were working basically on the campus. So we were traveling, to the apple orchards. Visiting pepper plants. So it was like we weren't working in the nice offices. It was working in the Radom region. So this is why when we engaged a lot of stakeholders and participants, and they also invested their time, their energy to work with us. So we felt somehow responsible for dynamizing those activities. And when the project ended and our financing ended and we didn't have any more financing, so we just assumed this commitment that we should continue until we find a solution to grow the cluster in a more professional way. So we've experienced 1 year that we were absolutely with no money. It was 2015, sure. And it was like, what do? We participated with in a common exhibition. With our regional government, and at the end of the following year, we have applied for very, very small project to finance some workshops and some activities, but giving this continuity to agro-bio cluster, which also gave us some kind of motivation that this is this is the way that we would like to continue, and together with our members, we just decided that we will keep developing agro-bio cluster, and the following following year, we started to apply for more fundings, searching like for small projects, but to have something concrete with a quick, quick win, and to maintain this motivation alive. And at the same time, also taking into account my personal experiences of international connections. So this is why we participated in a Riga workshop when we met Simon, actually who acted as a lot of I owe him a lot of good knowledge and a good advice on how to work with agro-bio cluster. But at this workshop we also met partners from Latvia and from Lithuania that had absolutely the same problems that we had at the same time. So this is why we created an intercluster network, which is Eastern European Food Clusters Network, and this network gathers partners from Central and Eastern Europe.
One of the things that I know of you is that you are, first of all, you're very well connected in Europe broadly. And some of the people that we talked about here, Simon, for instance, from Denmark, I also know, I forgot, is it Maria from Spain? Plus Food Clusters. Which
yes, indeed. Food
it's
plus,
it's a little family there in the cluster world, because you have a handful of agri-foods clusters that, and then some of them are not so active and some are very active, and the ones that are very active and good, they of course often get together because you have the same objective and the same approach. So tell me, so on the European, let's just finish the Eastern European network that you made. Tell us a little bit about that.
Mm-hmm. So this network was created in 2017. We, as a result of international workshop organized by Denmark, Cluster Excellence. So it was about capacity building and also how to manage internationalization in clusters.
2016, right?
So this. I think it was 17, but I'm still no. I think it was 2007.
Okay.
Or 6. No, it was. We met in 2016. You're right.
I was there
in Riga, in Latvia. You were there.
Yeah. I was at the
in
cluster.
This workshop?
The Danish organized there by the water. Yeah.
It was. This one was also, there was Danish Ministry of Science participating in this work. I will send you a link of this, maybe
that was another detour.
Or maybe it was another one, because it was June 2016. Then we have with my colleagues from Latvia and Lithuania, we met the same year at a cluster matchmaking conference in Warsaw. So we had bilateral meetings. We also more formally explored our values, our objectives, our goals, and we have just confirmed that we want to collaborate. We signed cooperation agreements, and the following years we have decided to create this network of clusters. So also Ukrainian 2 clusters were invited to join, and as a Eastern European Food Clusters networks, we started to apply for EU funding.
So how do you work together now in that group?
So right now we are working mostly within COSME projects, because we have in 2018 we have won European Strategic Cluster Partnership for Smart Investments, where we were working on boosting digital innovations in agri-food and packaging sector. So it was 2 years project, and then while also having this project in implementation, we designed and submit another proposal, which were about internationalization, also as part of European strategic cluster partnerships. So within this project, we set as international target markets Uruguay, Morocco, and Georgia. as how to say, as a way of expanding our activities. So within this project, we we put the concept of network and accelerated internationalization, both of agri-food and ICT clusters that we have been working with in the previous proposal. So the concrete activities are based in undertaken in the framework of. It's project inside the project. So we design projects and then implement it for us and for our members.
So COSME, and correct me if I'm wrong, COSME, it's another funding scheme that the European Commission runs, but it's related to, COSME is a lot related to framework condition, and they try also to fund connection with internationalization. I remember having dealt with one with Denmark, China, for instance.
Yes, they are right now. They are boosting clusters, entrepreneurship, support for SMEs. I think that also public procurement and activities in general in support for companies development.
So is that so the funding that is eligible, is that, or I was covered, is that for your work as a cluster? Yeah.
Indeed. So we have we cover our activities of the personal costs for cluster organization. Then we have money for concrete activities. For instance, in this internationalization project, we could hire a local ambassador in each country, and also to organize different activities like incoming mission, like global matchmakings. Actually, because of the pandemic, we couldn't do travels because we also had money to finance SMEs in traveling for business mission and international matchmaking missions. So we needed to adapt the project and the approach to more virtual format. And right now we are also, but in a different configuration, we will be running cluster excellence cluster, also cluster capacity building program. But this one will be with other partners. But our network partners are also engaged in other consortium where we will be working clustering projects, basically. So we are always in contact and very connected, even if we are not in the same consortium.
So you kind of have a musketeer oath, so to say, that you join each other if you can, and if you cannot, you still take advantage of each other as clusters.
Indeed, we create opportunities, and even if someone, for instance, but this is not only with our Eastern European partners, but in general, our philosophy is just to create and share opportunities, sure. and if it's not possible for us to take advantage of them, we are very happy to propose them to our other partners.
Yeah. Okay, because we need to move on a little bit, but what I wanted to just touch upon shortly before we move on to Poland and SMEs and EU funding, because I've been working for a cluster myself, and I've been working as a facilitator. So this is something probably that we share, how to build up the European network. Now, my approach, if I share a little bit of piece of me, I used very strategically and intensely the brokerage events that are running continuously throughout the year in Brussels, but also throughout the continent. It's becoming a whole. It's quite big industry, brokerage events. If you go to the B2 Match website where you have these things gathered,
indeed.
But the Commission's official brokerage events in connection with the opening of the different work programs, or opening of the call rounds, so to say, within energy or agri-food, whatever. Those have been, for me, extremely important, and I've been methodically developing a very coherent way of approach to deal with this, to pick up and build up my network. And my impression is that it's the same with you, Katarzyna.
Yes, I participated a lot, both in physical brokerage events before pandemic, then in a lot of virtual meetings. I also organized myself using B2Match those brokerage events. So it is an excellent tool to get to know potential partners, also to see if there is a chemistry of working together, if there are good connections, or if we share the same goals and would like to implement the same activities. We cluster matchmaking conference also supported us a lot in not only in building connections but also by giving us visibility at international level. We just really like to connect and to network. So we find it very useful.
Yeah, you know what I did? I not only, even if I couldn't participate, I registered anyways, because you have just to share with people who do not know about these brokerage events. Brokerage events, conceptually, it's speed dating. So you sit anything between 15 or 20 minutes with each person contact that you have pre-booked from a website. You register and then it's open up and you can then pre-book your meetings. Then you have 20-minute meetings with literally no break in between them. So you can have 10, 15 meetings per day. Sometimes they run 2 days, so it's quite intense. So that's the concept. So you get to meet a lot of people and you can screen beforehand which kind would suit what you would need. Typically, people come to see if they can find a consortium on the preparation that they want to join. Rather less, you have people coming with projects where they need partners. That's sort of the objective. Now, what I do with these meetings, as I just said, sometimes I register even though I'm not able to join, because it's a database. So 20 meetings might sound a lot, but if you have people registered like 300, and you would have a target group there that's much larger than the ones you can actually have the time to engage with, or manage to get a booking with. Some are booked very quickly. Then I go in and use these websites, B2 match websites. I use them as a database when I need to build up a project. Then I go in and find, because you can filter which subsector within agri-food or energy or whatever. So it's also university, SMEs and so on. So it's actually lately they started to shut them down, the old ones, which is annoying. Because then you lose the database, But it's a tip. That I to everybody, but I don't know. Do you use it like that or?
Totally, I do it the same way, and also when I cannot participate, or for instance, the timing is not good for me in terms of the days that this brokerage event will take place. So I just write to the people, then connect via LinkedIn, and we just stay in contact for future and for next opportunities. So this is for sure. This is a very good way to build a network of contacts.
No, Kasia, it's you know what these advisory board talks are very nice because it's extremely geeky. But you have to take care about the timing, because if it gets too long, people they get bored unless they're really interested in what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think my own perception is I haven't launched it yet. I'm almost ready. But my perception is that when I launch, I will fairly quickly get a lot of listeners, at least first-time listeners. Then we'll see if they like it. But because there are no podcasts on this, and because so many people deal with this all the time in their professional life, I think that there's going to be a lot of traction. And then
I am sure it will have a lot of audience. I am sure, because I also shared it with my colleagues. It was, what a great idea! Finally, this is. I think it's it is a brilliant idea to launch it.
Yeah, and when it's because the thing, what the characteristic of the people working with these things, they can listen for these things for hours. Yeah, the webinars and so on that the commission, they are like 2-3 hours long, and people they are like following it and they're watching it, because people have all kinds of questions, and there are all kinds of layers of challenges and things that people, why do you do this, how do you do this, how do you do that. This is also why it's an endless this podcast, it will be an endless series of different layers of how to work with these things, from content to IPR to how to matchmake, how to build a network, how to work as an SME. I mean, it's endless, literally endless.
Yeah. I wasn't aware how many, because this is the first time I started to think, to reflect on how many different concepts are involved in proposal preparation. So it's a huge and broad topic, and I always have new questions. This is like there are more questions than answers, and you need to keep learning all the time.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm having different ideas. I've also knowledge shared with some of the other advisory board members that moving into, for instance, having when the commission is launching, for instance, course we'll have special editions on that, where we get things in, or if we get things early work programs for upcoming, that we start to have specialized sessions on the content of detailed, like specific work programs. And I also thought about making live sending or something like this around submission date. You won't. Yeah, just you don't have, of course, the people that are preparing proposals, they don't have the time to be in a podcast, but you can make episodes where
I can make you live.
Yeah.
At 4 a.m. at the morning, writing the proposals.
Yeah. But it could be nice to have these kind of things where you have someone who has just done it, like a month ago or 2 months ago, and then go through what kind of phases people go through in the the last day. Talk about horrible episodes or whatever, when things went horribly wrong, or when you succeeded.
I
wrote a proposal in a week and got 10 million euros or whatever.
I have quite interesting stories with this last time working. So
that's it. We need to keep the anecdotes.
It is recorded, but when I gave birth to my twins, I gave birth one day before the submission of a project. So it was.
We will definitely take that story in a dedicated episode.
So if you do this phase, I have a lot of stories, of very on how
writing
how
a proposal on maternity hormones.
From the hospital there.
This is a nice teaser for people. We will have an episode on this. I promise you, dear listeners, we will. No. Speaking of not making this program too long, that was where I came from. Now, Kasia, let's move on to my second main element to talk to you today. One of my first thoughts about when I started to build up the podcast and wanted to make sub concepts, so to say. So I have for universities, and I have for facilitators and consultants and so on. I also thought about having a dedicated concept for Eastern Europe. I haven't done it yet, but I think I'm leaning towards doing that. But the reason for that is because I know that most people that work with these things, they know that it is it can be a grudge to get Eastern European partners on board with proposals. There are specific issues related to history, about when you all access the European Union, all these things, business tradition, so all these things. There are some things there that I know I want to put a spotlight on it, and I want to dig into, put a light on the challenges from people who knows locally how it is to work with these things in Eastern Europe in the different countries, and then try to carve out what kind of what people like you are doing to cut these issues down. Now, when I mentioned this to you, you wrote me that you hadn't really thought about these things, but maybe we can try to circle us into this. So what I have wrote you here in the rundown, I would like to dig into the SME issue, which is difficult to get into EU projects all over Europe. and how you address it in your work. Now, can you explain us a little bit about how you work with the SMEs in relation to the EU funding, and a little maybe share with us what challenges you meet with your members?
So basically, with SMEs, we work as facilitator and creating opportunities for them to participate in the project that where UNIMOS is partner, and they can benefit from project activities, or we support them in joining consortia by facilitating them all the required information, as for instance description of the company, competences, infrastructure. We even support them in getting the PIC number and preparing work package descriptions and task descriptions, because what we are experiencing is that companies, especially SMEs, are not aware of the availability of EU funding, but financed directly from the European Commission, so that they need to apply for Brussels to Brussels for this funding. This is also related to the availability of EU funding for Poland that are also available, and companies can write the proposal directly in Polish. So there is for sure language barriers in terms of application, and in Poland there is also possibility to apply by themselves. So there is no need to create a consortium with international partners that involve also skills, competences, networks, contacts to collaborate internationally. And but in general, both in terms of EU funding in Poland or in Europe, there is also sometimes lack of knowledge and skills on how to write the proposal, on how to describe and justify the need of the grant, how to propose the how to design the budget. And companies, especially small and medium enterprises, also do not have a budget to hire external consultants and to prepare the proposal for them. So this is like a closed circle that and this is why we don't work with Polish national national funds, because our members are also very mostly based in rural zones. So there is like additional challenge to get information and the right timing of the availability of the funds. And this is why we made the decision that we will be supporting them in the way that we can, that we have like a control, and the way that we really can support them in a concrete way via regional funding, and acting as driver or catalysator of EU funds. So this is the most challenges, and there are also differences between companies that are coming from more traditional sectors and more international ones, like for instance ICT, or more like born global companies. So we need to also distinguish the industry that they are coming from, the business reality, and take it into consideration.
So the language barrier, the lack of network, the lack of knowledge of how to approach it, this is where you come into the picture.
Indeed.
So I think I know the answer, because we talked about it in the first episode that was lost. But can you tell me what you do to bypass these challenges?
So we bridge. We are acting as a bridge. For instance, we translate the information from Polish to English. We also support consortium coordinators in gathering all the information that is required. Also in designing the project concepts that are in line with what our members are doing. And we have so far we have also got questions about, for instance, engaging our members as use cases in EU projects. So they can, for instance, test new devices or some innovative approaches. So the challenge there was how to explain and convince the company that is beneficial for them. So how the EU procedures looks like, what they want to do, what there will be for them. So we have so this was also quite challenging for us to try to practically engage them in the in being part of the consortium.
It's hard work.
It's energy consuming, and it is energy consuming because you need to explain it also in a very understandable way.
Yeah, but you need to step into the world they come from. Yeah.
Indeed, so this is why we need to understand what they do, and then we need to understand, for instance, what the project proposal is about. Think how to explain it in the very easy way. So just to try to convince them fast, because in general the timing for proposal preparation is quite tight. Sometimes it's like very last minute that we are asked for potential partners. So this is why we have also created the UNIMOS Alliance, because we need to have trusted partners that we also can recommend our international partners. So we cannot engage someone who is not prepared or that we don't know very well, because this is all also about relations, and we need to take this into account. Also another way of being like very concrete. So we are translators. So we, for instance, organize video conferences, and we translate from Polish to English and from other language, just to try to bridge this communication barrier.
What you mentioned last couple of days ago was that you also drag them into proposals where you yourself step in as partner. Yeah, because
Indeed.
that's also a way of doing it. So you gauge yourself, then you take in a batch of a case,
Indeed.
test, pilot, whatever.
This is, and for so far it has been like the best way to work, because they don't need to apply for themselves. We applied as UNIMOS, and they for instance, they benefit from the very concrete activities. So it's working well. Still, it's not like the best way, because I think that EU funding is a very fertile way to explore more opportunities. So it's I think that companies could benefit more, but still a need of work to be done before they acquire this full awareness of the benefits.
I can tell you what, SMEs, they're the same no matter where they are in this world. So general reluctance to step into EU-funded stuff, generally shying away from any kind of bureaucracy, red tape. They just want quick things quick done, quick business collaboration, all these things. It's the same in everywhere I've been helping and supporting people, from Lisbon to Stavanger to Bucharest. It's the same. Yeah, so that doesn't matter if it's east or west. But I guess that the challenge, I guess, in relation to, there's still a slightly higher common understanding in South, West, and Northern Europe around funding schemes, and because there are also a lot of, in many countries, public funding schemes that are very, like national funding schemes that are. They are used to, sort of. So there's a way of working with these things where it's not. There's a longer tradition for these things than there is in Eastern Europe, and maybe it's just maybe you confirm, but because of that lack of tradition in this kind of funding things, it's a parallel world. It's big, and there's a long history in each country of how to support the business community. These things have been built from scratch after '89. How to build a system. It's a whole system that needs to be rebuilt, and specifically these things. My perception of what I sort of picked up is that you don't get a lot of these. It's considered. This is something that the companies, they have to deal with themselves to build up their technological development, or commercially by commercial partnerships and so on. So the government is shying a little bit away, and that creates, I guess, this kind of EU funding. Sort of this background knowledge that even though it's difficult to engage the SMEs in the West, there's still an understanding of it that you probably, and I'm just talking a lot, but is that a correct analysis?
We have, I think that in Poland we have like a lot of grow opportunities right now. So this is like companies. I also quite like they don't know from how to approach them. So we have entered into European Union in 2004, and so far we are like in the third EU perspective. So at the beginning there was like a lot of funding, a lot of investments in equipments, in modernizations. Then there was like a focus on innovations, and now it's the focus on R&D. So the companies they were engaged, but they also started to complain about the bureaucratic things, about the timing, about the own contribution, about all the paperwork. So they experienced that there is a lot. So it's they are just selecting right now if it's better for them to apply or not to apply. Being part also the EU funding that you apply directly to the European Commission, I think that companies should have like a conscious path of development. So also like it should be like the long-term strategy that they would like to apply, that they are conscious of the possibilities of innovations, of connections building, and all the benefits it confers. But case are the reality are different. So yes, it's all about learning, about creating new systems, and we are experiencing all of this here in Poland.
Yeah. Summing up, what I thought just now was that it sounds like that Polish companies are becoming calibrating more with the West.
Yeah.
No, I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. So in northwestern Europe and North Europe, you have the government pushing a lot with a lot of money into the system. Yeah. So the government in Denmark and in Norway, for instance, the Netherlands, they push money into the system to get clusters, to get business support systems with targets to get EU funding back home to the country. But you don't have that in Eastern Europe. Huh?
Not yet. I think that it will.
Capacities in the whole business support system in those countries where they get this. It's civil servants, so they don't cost anything. That support a lot, because the government thinks it's strategically important to be engaged in research and innovation projects for the research communities, for the innovation communities, for the SMEs and so on. So that has, because if you didn't have that, then the level would probably be the same as in Eastern Europe. Really, I mean it, because it's really when you talk to a Dutch SME or a Belgian SME or German SME or Danish SME, they have exactly the same. And the language also, Germans, English, no, but it's the same issue, but because the governments are pushing money into the system to force them, so to say, to really come, then you get that there's a certain flow towards the funding. Yeah? So where it's much more self-made in Eastern Europe, where you, with people like you, really heroes, you really, it's important what you do, because if there's nothing from the government side to support the supportive structures with these things, to say come, we need more money, then it's up to people like you.
They are quite different initiatives and activities from the governments to try to foster participation in international EU funding. Still, this I don't feel this pressure on me.
No, I'm just analyzing. I'm trying to analyze a little bit the background, and to sort of to circle us into sort of what could be the issue of. So yeah.
But what I maybe I should say that I don't feel this pressure as cluster manager. But what I feel the pressure is as scientific and research assistant, because in terms of science sector there is a clear push on international activities, in publishing in international journals, in applying for EU funding, in participating in international research consortia. So I think that there are like different realities for business and for science. So
and again, this we touched upon this and that's again history, because all post-communist countries before '89, there was a very, very strong academic tradition. Academy of Sciences, a very strong school system, elementary school system, high school system, and university system, very, very solid. So that's sort of explains how that goes. Any kind of EU project where you need research partners on specific elements, where you can get Eastern Europeans on board, for Christ's sake, do it, because they're very strong. There's many Western Europeans that don't really know, actually. We need to wrap up soon here, so but it's been nice digging a little bit into this. Now, Kasia, in the end of each show, all the shows I also do solo, I have a segment called The Toughest Challenge, where I say, okay, this is the toughest one in relation to finding a partner or writing or finding the cortex, whatever. And I try to stick to it also in these guest shows. So looking at working as a cluster, if you try to focus on that, what is the toughest challenge as an innovation cluster in the agro business field in Poland in relation to EU funding?
So I would say that the toughest challenge is sort of like combining to find the right call in the right moment, to build a right consortium with right partners, and also to design the project concept in the right way that will somehow be aligned with what European Commission wants, and also what project partners can and would like to do together. So
serving your members' interests, so to say.
Indeed.
And square that into a common European project with 20 partners.
Indeed. So it's so far it's we have, for instance, experienced that we found a very nice call, but it was very tight timing to submit it. Then we couldn't, for instance, find the right partners, or didn't have all the required competences that are described in the scope of the call. And also there was this is very time consuming to write in Brussels English, to use the language that is used by European Commission. So I think that the challenge is just to do it simultaneously, and so far we have experienced that we have been involved in different types of proposal writing. So we did it with coordinators that had like a very good timing, all preparation, all the steps with, for instance, 2 months or 3 months of preparations. Then we have been involved like at the very last time as project partners, like jumping into consortia that will be closed in 2 days. From my personal experience, I have written project that we started thinking about this 1 week before the proposal, before the closure of the proposal. So it was like 1 week to write it. and we were successful. This about internationalization. But we already know the partners, so we had the competences. We also built on something that was already built, so it was easier. But also it's basically, I feel challenged all the way and all the time, because it's you never know what to expect. That, for instance, now it's the new proposal template in Horizon Europe, so you need to squeeze before you were writing in 70 pages. Now you have to include everything in 30 pages. You have different structures, so you need to learn again. There are different administrative forms. Horizon Europe is different, so it's you need to be very open.
I think you hit the nail on its head with your partners there, with the local partners, and fitting that, because the other things, you've been doing this for many years, so that's just reading into how the conditions, and then you adjust, because every time there's a new framework program, they change things. So that's something that we learn over the years to okay, then you need to attend some webinars or whatever to understand, and everybody is struggling, so how do you do this, But the thing with the local partners and hitting bullseye with exactly what that group wants to do, and then still making it fit in a larger context, that I think that's pretty bullseye. Kasia, last thing before we cut this off. When I have guests first time on the show, I have started the segment where I ask them what people are most proud of. So what are you most proud of? And it doesn't have to be a successful proposal. It can also be one of my guests, the other Jonas, he answered it was the way that he had built up his career, the way he had managed to learn things about. But when you hear this question, what are you most proud of in relation to your career within EU funding support? So what's your first thought?
My first thought was that I am proud of people that I met, that the contacts that in most of the cases became our friends. So that I do things that I can design by myself, that have purpose, that I can select people that I work with, and topics that I'm engaged with. So this is why I feel that I am continuously learning new things, that I'm enjoying a lot, and and this is something that keep me motivated all the time. So I'm very grateful for choosing this way of personal and professional development, I think.
Cool. Very nice. We have come to the end. Kasia, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome on board the advisory board.
I feel very grateful for that you invited me to be part of your and it's.
Kasia, I need people in this group that have been working with this for many years and that are very engaged in work. So that has a lot of luggage, a lot of weight in their backpack, so to say, from working with these things, and that's you.
So thank you, because if it's okay with you, I would like also to highlight I don't know, in LinkedIn or something, that I am part of this advisory group. So if I can also use it,
but that's what I need to build up the initiative for people to promote it. So yes, of course, by all means, promote away.
So I will. So this is so. No, it's like how to say. I'm feeling a lot of a lot of value from your invitation, because this is the first time that I can think of what I'm doing, reflect something. This is also good timing, because we are transforming our business model and our services. So it's good to stop, to think, and to see what to do next. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
There are endless amount of opportunities. For instance, when you said it now, we could have an episode where you could have innovation clusters exchanging on how they work. a little bit like a workshop almost, where a panel where you sit and exchange on how you work, different tools you use to engage, meeting concepts, or
it would be perfect.
So all these kind of things, to use it, because for me, I'm independent, so I just do whatever I want. I make whatever episode angle that I want. So that's just like this. I don't have to ask anybody.
So that's great.
Kasia, we have to end up if people have not already left us.
The office, yes, the first time in the office.
The listeners. Now, Kasia, thank you so much. We'll stay in touch. Get back to me concerning the things we discussed for next episodes. And thank you. Thank you for being here. We'll stay in touch. And for you, the listeners, thank you for listening to the end. So long. I have created a website for this initiative. Check it out at thegrand.eu. Go and subscribe to this podcast and browse around to check out how the initiative is unfolding. When you subscribe, you will get access to the Grand LinkedIn group, which is where the interaction is going on between you, dear listeners, and me. Thanks for listening to the end, and looking so very much forward to build this up for you. Get the Grand! The Grand. You have been listening to The Grand, the EU funding podcast.